We didn't feel any interest in the sights of the carnival after Lonnie left. It had been a long day, and the hard cots Pete Harris had assigned to us felt comfortable and good to our tired bodies. I lay awake for a long time trying to make myself realize that I was very lucky. $5 a week with food for Joey and me and a sheltered place to sleep meant a streak of luck that would have seemed impossible only a week before. It didn't matter that the carnival was a strange and bewildering place, or that I was scared. It was nothing, I told myself, compared to the fear of cold and hunger which Joey and I had just experienced in Nebraska. This was true, certainly, but a fear of strange people was different. I couldn't explain it, but somehow I had felt more confidence alone with Joey as we scrounged for survival than I did that night in the midst of a crowd of people busy with business of providing pleasure. You don't make good sense, I told myself as sleep began to close in on me. I dreamed in what must have been the early hours of the night, because I was aware of the monotonous music ground out by the merry-go-round, music that gradually receded and became the hum of big tires on a concrete road. The dwarf men woke us up the next morning. They were strange little people with old faces and bodies no larger than a 5-year-old child's. One of them clambered up on Joey's bed and began to beat him with tiny, wrinkled hands. The other, a much quieter and more dignified little man with a great hump on his back, stood at a distance and looked at us with great interest. "Get up if you want breakfast, you new guys," the noisy one squeaked at us. He wanted to know our names, where we were from, what our act was. His questions rattled out one after the other, and yet I don't think he was really interested in any answers. He did, however, seize upon my statement that I played the piano. "Oh, great," yelled Shirley. "Pete Harris needs a piano player like we need another cut in wages. Pete Harris is a fool, a crazy old fool, and you are a crazy young fool. You better find another job. You won't be playing a piano here very long. Not with box office receipts sliding off to nothing." "Why can't you behave yourself, Bleegan?" the second little man asked sharply. "Pete asked us to bring these boys to breakfast. He didn't say anything about giving them a lecture." He extended his hand to me. "My name is Edward C. Kingston. Don't pay any attention to Bleegan. He'll be a pest for a while and then lose all interest in you. I've seen it happen before." Bleegan was, in fact, something of a pest, much like a chattering, irresponsible monkey, and apparently having little in common with Edward C. Kensington, except for the matter of size. He pattered after Joey, plaguing him with insistent questions. "Why aren't you home with your mama, little sweet child?" he asked. "I'm an orphan," Joey answered shortly, and he very pointedly ignored Bleegan's further questions. When we were dressed, we walked with Edward C. Kensington to the breakfast tent while Bleegan scampered ahead of us, turning occasionally to come back and ask a question which had been answered 5 minutes before. At the tent, there were 50 or more people seated on wooden benches at long, narrow tables. Here Bleegan found his wife, who had just arrived from the women's sleeping tent. They embraced lovingly and sat close together, eating from the same cereal bowl, until an argument started, and their shrill anger could be heard all through the tent. A few people laughed, others shrugged and paid no attention to them. We tried to ignore them, but when they upset the cereal bowl and splashed us with its contents, Edward C. Kensington led us to a place farther down the table near quieter neighbors. "You'll find lots of pleasant people here in spite of the bad impression you're getting from those two," Edward C. Kensington told us. "We carnies are not a bad sort, really. Of course, the circus people rather look down their noses at us, but we can't be bothered by that. Some of the finest people I know are carnies, people like Emily. You'll meet Emily soon. She's very dear to those of us who appreciate quality." He sounded prim and a little pompous, but we liked him. He asked us to call him Edward C. "Hi, Miss King. Miss King students, please wake up." "The C stands for courage," he said, smiling at Joey. "Many times the pain in my hump has been so bad I've needed to remember that my middle name is Courage." He turned to his breakfast again, and his voice took on a brisker tone. "Well, now, enough of that. Plenty of other people in this world have their woes, too. Take that fellow at the table opposite us. That is Ellsworth, the man with flippers instead of arms. The man feeding him is Gorby, the sword swallower. They travel together. Never say anything more than good day to any of us. Very reserved gentlemen. Then there is Madame Olympia, the obese lady." Edward C. coughed delicately behind his hand. "She has a rather remarkable appetite. Never passes the platter to anyone, just empties whatever is on it to her own plate and pushes the empty platter aside. A little joke among us, not kind, I'm afraid, but we grab at a chance to laugh whenever we can.